We're going to break down how you can turn that struggle into your greatest strength. We're talking about that exact moment where all your passion and excitement runs headfirst into a brick wall, and every single part of you just wants to quit. We've all been there. You start something new. You're absolutely buzzing with energy. You're making plans, dreaming about that finish line. And then reality hits. The actual work begins, and that fire you started with kinda starts to sputter. Well, this explainer is all about what to do in that exact moment. You know what's wild is just how predictable this whole thing is. That urge to just give up, it isn't random. For most of us, when we're tackling something new and difficult, it shows up like clockwork, usually right around that 4-week mark. And that is the moment that separates the people who dream about it from the people who actually do it. And there it is, the moment of truth. This is when you realize success isn't just about the fun planning part. It's about the grind. It's about doing the boring, mind-numbing, repetitive stuff over and over and over again. And that is exactly when our brains start desperately searching for an escape hatch. So what is that escape hatch? Well, it's got a name, the excuse. Now, we're going to pull this thing apart. We're going to dissect those perfectly logical reasons we tell ourselves to stop and really understand how this internal resistance machine of ours works. This quote just hits you with a hard truth, doesn't it? While our reasons for quitting feel so personal, so unique to us, they're not. They're part of a universal human experience. Your struggle isn't new, and believe me, neither are your excuses. And yep, here they are, the usual suspects. I mean, they always sound so reasonable, right? They protect our ego. They make it seem like it's outside forces holding us back. But let's be real. These excuses are the literal blueprints of failure. They are the stories we tell ourselves to make an action feel okay. See, every single excuse is a trade-off. You are swapping your long-term progress, and this is a big one, your trust in yourself, all for a quick hit of short-term comfort. It feels good for a second, but it is a terrible bargain that will never ever pay off. And the impact of this habit, it is just staggering. According to one analysis, 90% of these failures come from this one habit. It's not a lack of talent. It's not a lack of opportunity. For most people, it's the excuses they lean on. So how do we fight back? How do we stop this? We have to build a kind of counter-program to this excuse machine. And it doesn't start with what we do. It starts with a massive shift in how we think. You have to win the inner battle before you even think about stepping onto the field. Einstein nailed it. This idea is everything. To beat the excuse habit, you have to literally change your mind. You've got to admit that the old way of thinking, those old choices, they just weren't working. It's like you have to rewrite your entire contract with reality and decide what's possible for you. And Dr. Dyer gives us this perfect metaphor for it. We always think our past failures are what's driving the boat. But they're not. They're just the wake, the trail left behind. To move forward, you have to stop looking back at that trail and focus on the engine, on the now, which is where all your choices are made. And there's a name for this new mindset we're trying to build. It's called grit. Psychologist Angela Duckworth defines it perfectly. It's not about how talented you are. It's about passion and maybe even more importantly, perseverance. It's about embracing the hard stuff and seeing failure as just data, not a death sentence. So what fuels that grit? Well, Eric Thomas gets right to the heart of it here. You have to find your deeper why. Because when the work gets brutal and quitting sounds like the most logical thing in the world, your why is the anchor that's going to hold you down. It's the reason you show up anyway. So a winner's mindset is great, but how does that actually translate into action? A mindset without execution is pretty useless. This next part is all about embracing that relentless day in, day out grind. Jocko Willink, the former Navy SEAL, he just puts it out there. He asks the questions that are already rattling around in our heads when we're in the thick of it. Tired? Worn out? Totally sick of the grind? Feeling that way doesn't mean something's wrong. It means you're right where the work gets done. And his answer is so brutally simple, it's kind of profound. Go anyways. That's it. Just slices through all the noise, all the feelings, all the excuses. Don't feel like it? Go anyways. Word you're just going through the motions? Great. Go through the motions. The action is what matters. And this is the absolute core of a grinder's mindset. It's about completely separating your actions from your emotions. The work has to get done whether you feel like a superhero or you feel like crawling back into bed. It's about pure, simple execution. So what do you do in the actual moment? You need a protocol, a game plan. First, you've got to know yourself. What are your personal excuse triggers? Then, when you feel that trigger, you just commit to 5 minutes. That's it. Just start. Because starting is always the hardest part. And finally, bring someone else in. Make yourself accountable. Raise the stakes. Ultimately, as Kobe's words make so clear, it's about adopting a totally different standard for yourself. A championship standard. You're not just trying to get by. You are competing for first place in your own life. And a mindset like that, it changes absolutely everything. And finally, let's just zoom out for a second and reframe what this whole struggle is even for. Because if you think the goal is just the promotion, or the degree, or crossing some finish line, you're missing the best part. Look, that external thing, that's just the goal. The real prize is the internal transformation. It's who you become in the process of chasing that goal. The resilience, the discipline, the self-trust you build along the way, that's the trophy. That is the prize you get to carry with you into every other battle for the rest of your life. So this whole journey, it doesn't start tomorrow. It doesn't start next week when you feel motivated. It starts right now. It begins with one small choice to act against that voice telling you to stop. The grind begins with the very next decision you make.